This is CBS 47 Eyewitness News this morning in high definition.
Good morning and happy Friday. It's 5 a.m. I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Julie Musgrave. Last night marked part 2 of the Republican town hall featuring candidates John Kasich, Jeb Bush, and Donald Trump. All three took questions from voters during the last major event before this primary this weekend.
And in Nevada, the Democrats fight for minority voters. Let's go to our friend Diane Gallagher live in Columbia.
Yeah, in just 24 hours, the polls will finally open here in South Carolina. Votes will be cast. So last night's town hall, really, the stakes could not have been any higher for those three candidates, Jeb Bush, John Kasich, and the man who was leading in all of the statewide polls.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Donald Trump dominated headlines leading into Thursday's GOP town hall after Pope Francis said that wanting to build a border wall between the United States and Mexico is not Christian. It was seen as a thinly veiled reference to the controversial businessman.
He's got an awfully big wall at the Vatican. I think he said something much softer than was originally reported by the media.
Governors John Kasich and Jeb Bush would not be drawn into the debate.
Put me down in the pro-Pope column. I don't question people's Christianity.
Kasich opened the event reflecting on a moment earlier in the day when a supporter said that he had found hope in Kasich's message.
You got to celebrate other people's wins, and sometimes you got to sit with them and cry.
And Bush addressed a huge blow to his campaign. Governor Nikki Haley endorsing Marco Rubio.
That's obviously a powerful endorsement in the state.
I'm marking her down as neutral.
Now, the Democrats also held a town hall last night in Las Vegas. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders traded barbs in an effort to win over minority voters.
We're in a campaign, and the secretary will say what she'll say.
I just don't know where all this comes from, because maybe it's that Senator Sanders wasn't really a Democrat until he decided to run for president.
Yeah, things pretty tight there for the Democrats. Now, all of the candidates are going to be spending the next 24 hours shaking hands, kissing babies, trying to get those last final votes before the people in Nevada go to caucus and the voters here in the Palmetto State hit the polls. Reporting live in Columbia, South Carolina, I'm Diane Gallagher. Back to you.
Breaking news this morning, U.S. warplanes strike an ISIS camp in Libya where senior operative Nuruddin Kouchain was believed to be. Reports say at least 40 are dead. The U.S. military has launched several airstrikes against ISIS targets over the past few months. They're concentrated in Iraq and Syria, where the Islamic extremist group has its biggest foothold. Stick with Eyewitness News for the latest developments on this story.
All right, coming up on 5:03 now this morning. Let's switch gears here. We are excited for the weekend,
oh, yeah.
right?
Big stuff.
Oh, yeah, we had
It's
some
gonna be
great
pretty good
rain
out
on yesterday as well. How about that, around that quarter-inch mark in a couple of different locations around the valley floor. But sunny skies are on the way for us as we are feeling a lot more like spring, and we will get even warmer as we head toward the next several days. As you can see, live pinpoint Doppler showing there is some wet weather going on across Northern California. This second wave of it, though, will remain north of us. We won't see rain from this particular system coming south, although you see Northern California is in and getting some wet weather action today. Of course, a few clouds in the sky for today, but we'll see sunny skies on the way. Your rainfall totals from yesterday, of course, topped the quarter-of-an-inch mark for Fresno and stayed just shy of it for the Porterville area. Merced picked up over 1/10 of an inch of rain for us on yesterday, and of course, no active alerts in our area north of us. So the purple area is at winter weather advisory. Temperatures back in the 40s and 30s, returning to the valley floor. So it's definitely a colder morning out there, and will remain that way through the next day or so. We'll see a warming trend on the way for us here as we head through the next couple of days, including temperatures today that top out in the 60s. Stay tuned. We'll talk about exactly how warm it's going to get coming up.
Anthony, thank you. A brave house sitter is being credited for helping police nab a home burglary suspect in Fresno. Officers arrested 19-year-old Wesley Shelton. They say he broke into a home near McKinley and West. Now, the residents were out of town here, but the break-in triggered a motion alarm. A neighbor was actually watching the home, saw Shelton inside with stolen property laid out on the back porch. He went over and went face-to-face with Shelton.
Just as I barely peeked through the hallway, he peeked at the same time and he saw me. I said, "You need to come out or else I'm going to shoot you." Okay? So that's when he came out and I said, "You need to lay on the floor." Okay? But I had my hand on the back all this time. They wanted to not think that I didn't have a weapon.
Police say Shelton has a history of drug and theft charges. He's now booked into the Fresno County Jail.
And with that recent home burglary, many are blaming Prop 47 and prison realignment for repeat offenders. In 2011, Governor Brown passed the bill to meet a Supreme Court ruling to reduce the population inside state prisons, and also mandates non-serious offenders be put in county jail, not state prison. As a result, more prisoners have been released, and in 2014, California voters passed Prop 47. It reduces sentences for certain drug possession crimes, and it also makes certain offenses that were once felonies into misdemeanors.
My belief is that crime rates are going up. I never get tired of meeting with people in our community to work with them because they are our crime-fighting partners.
According to law enforcement, 80% of the people being booked have prior offenses. Sheriff Mims wants people to talk to their lawmakers about changing the current laws.
New details this morning on a honey oil explosion at a hotel in Lemoore. Last month, 2 men were injured by the blast at the Travelodge Hotel. One was arrested that day. But a second suspect, William Boyajian, was treated for burns. He was recently released from the hospital, and Lemoore police arrested him for manufacturing a controlled substance and other charges related to that explosion. Officers are now looking for 38-year-old Anthony Dominguez. They say he's a suspect in this case based on surveillance video and witness statements. If you know where he is, call Crime Stoppers at 498-STOP.
Fresno County Sheriff's detectives are asking for your help today to find several thieves wanted for targeting 2 separate businesses in less than 24 hours. The first one happened in this truck lot near Marks and Belmont. The thieves were recorded taking items from those trucks. Detectives are now looking for a man and woman in a green 2001 Isuzu. The other happened less than a mile away at a market, and that's where the suspects were caught on camera using a power tool to break into a water machine. They got away with about $30, but left around $2,000 in damage.
We know that crooks tend to try and support habits, specifically drug habits. Methamphetamine fuels a lot of the crime in the city and in the county. So there's a good chance that they were getting in there just to steal some items that they could turn around and sell the next day to support their drug habit.
Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers 498-STOP.
Continuing coverage now of the kidnapping and assault of a 13-year-old girl in Clovis. Now the school district is reaching out to parents in the area. The Fresno County Sheriff's Office is still investigating this crime. That girl was allegedly kidnapped, tied to a tree, beaten up, and left miles away from her home. The school district says they are making sure parents know where this crime happened.
In a world where things happen, and as a parent, you just always want to have that conversation with your child.
The suspects are described as being 4 young men, possibly Hispanic, and the car they were driving is described as a late 90s silver BMW with tinted windows and a broken tail light. If you have any information about the crime, call the Fresno County Sheriff's Office.
And now to the South Valley. New details on funeral arrangements for 2 men killed in a plane crash. Deputy Scott Ballantyne and pilot James Chavez died last week. Their plane crashed into a hillside in Tulare County. The funeral for Chavez is tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Glad Tidings Church in Hanford. Then Monday, Deputy Ballantyne will be laid to rest at 10 a.m. at the Visalia First Assembly of God Church. For more on the funeral plans, head to our website, yourcentralvalley.com.
It is 5:08 now, and still to come on Eyewitness News this morning.
How to reduce your iPhone bill, plus why Harry Potter fans are flocking to Starbucks. I'm Hannah Daniels in New York. I'll have those stories and much more coming up in your CBS Money Watch report.
And weather-wise, dry conditions are in for the next several days, but a big warm-up on the way. We'll talk more about it coming up.